It's been a long time, and I've been promising it for a while, but here we are. I have the review of the first disc of Crystal Ball. Hey everybody, welcome back to Prince's Friend, exploring music through Prince. Don't forget to follow us on social media at Prince's Friend YT on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And the review that I have today is for such a big album. I think I was psyching myself out. It was hard for me to kind of get the motivation to sit down and do this review. I kept thinking it needed to be exactly perfect and I needed to give it the hugest amount of attention. And you know what? I kind of just want to talk about the music here because Crystal Ball is exactly that. It is a collection of some amazing Prince songs. 10 songs to be exact on each of the 3 discs that compose Crystal Ball. There was a 5-disc version of this that was released in January of 1998, which had the 3 discs of Crystal Ball, an acoustic album called The Truth, which we'll be reviewing later, as well as an orchestral album that he had written for his wife Maite, called Kama Sutra. That is not the version that I purchased because that was the version I believe that was only available to people who were members of the MPG Music Club. And I didn't join the MPG Music Club until after Crystal Ball. I got the 4-disc version that was released in March of 1998, which did not include the Kama Sutra. I didn't get Kama Sutra until way later. I think I got it like 5 years ago or something. Crystal Ball did spend 5 weeks on the Billboard Top 200 and peaked at the number 62 spot, which isn't bad for a box set of Prince songs from years before. Most of the songs come from the mid-80s or the mid-90s, but I can't wait to go through these tracks with you. But before we do, a word from our sponsors. Has this ever happened to you? That's not funky. Has the state of music brought you down?
This is so not cool, dude.
Well, we've got just the thing for you. Introducing Crystal Ball. From the man who goes by many names. You can call him the artist formerly known as Prince, Taff Cap, Cymbal Man, Tora Tora, Jamie Starr, Christopher Tracy, and many others. But we'll just call him Prince here. This is a 5-disc, or 4-disc if you're late to the game, collection of Prince's music. So if you're a fan, friend, or fam who is a fan of Prince's music almost exclusively from the time periods of 1986 and between 1992 and 1994, then this is just the collection for you. Crystal Ball includes songs like Dream Factory, Chlorine Bacon Skin, The Ride,
You got the time, baby.
and many other songs that you may or may not have heard of, but you will be rabid over them because they're from Prince. No more worrying about if things will be funky. No more worrying about if you can dance to it.
Well, how do I buy it?
You can't, unless you just so happen to get your copy in 1998. Who bought a time machine? Today it's hard to find, at least physically, though you can stream it on most popular services.
I'm definitely gonna go and buy Crystal Ball today.
I just said you couldn't.
Oh, yeah, you did just say that.
In your name we pray. Brother, my babe. Ever had a crystal ball? Undercover, no maid.
So the first track is Crystal Ball, and it was recorded in 1986. And I found a cool quote from Prince that says, "All that matters is the love we make tonight. The notion of making love during the apocalypse was an interesting notion to us at the time." The woman on the track is Susanna Melvoin, and Claire Fisher did the orchestral arrangement on it, obviously. He did it on most of Prince's things. Everything else was Prince. And this song was kind of contrived in 1986, and it was supposed to be the title track of an album called Crystal Ball back in the day. One of several projects that Prince was working on, and they all got chopped up and dissected and eventually became Sign of the Times. For me, though, this song was always kind of a weird journey, because this was the song in the commercial that sold me on it. Just that kind of middle part that's actually really, really funky, But all of the stuff around it was so much storytelling and ambiance and everything, and it really kind of brings you through a story, and there's screams and there's explosions and all this stuff. It's really, really cool, but kind of makes it hard to put it on at a party.
This is what it's like in the dream factory. Oh,
Everybody got big plans, but nobody got the bucks.
Dream Factory is the second track, and it is written about someone Prince calls a turncoat in the booklet that comes with Crystal Ball. It's about somebody who gets a brush with fame and then gets lost in all the women and the drugs. Some people say it's about Morse Day, and if you've read his book, then you might actually get that idea as well. Others say that it's about St. Paul, who was the lead singer of The Family, another band that Prince put together. And that idea comes from the line, "A man came up to me, a smile in his eyes. He told me I was a saint." And again, he's singing as the person, so the person that he's singing about is, I guess, Prince, and Prince told him that he was a saint because before his name was Paul Peterson, and after Prince, he was St. Paul. Either way, I mean, I freaking love this song. Like, the beat, the music, the way the lyrics mesh up with it all, it is just so well executed and put together. It's great from back to back. And it was supposed to be the title track on a proposed Dream Factory album that was supposed to come after Parade. Once again, one of those albums that got spliced up and eventually became Sign of the Times. Funny note, before Crystal Ball ever came out, on the Exodus album from the New Power generation, in the track The DJ Gets Jumped, the DJ is actually playing Dream Factory in that segue, so it's pretty cool. And I remember hearing that, I'm just like, what song is that? And, obviously when Crystal Ball came out, I'm like, that's the song from Exodus, oh!
acknowledge me. Don't talk me anymore. No, baby. I was here in the beginning, and I'll be here forevermore. Acknowledge me. I wanna be your friend, baby.
The third track is Acknowledge Me, and it was recorded in 1993. It was originally written for the Gold Experience, but eventually went on to be replaced by Pussy Control, which I think is a better song. That beginning gospel scream was Bonnie Bowyer from back in the Love Sexy days. It was taken from a song called The Line that was cut from the Love Sexy album, but apparently Prince really loved that scream. The liner notes for Crystal Ball say that The Line was to eventually be released, but it never really came to be. I first heard this as one of the songs in the Beautiful Experience movie, which I've reviewed. Go back and check out that review. And I fell in love with it. It was the only place where you could hear that song, so I would watch that movie a bunch because that was the only place to hear the song, and the other versions of Come, but we're not talking about that. And I can't say how happy I was when this song ended up on Crystal Ball and I bought it. And that's how I felt with a lot of these songs, because I was like, there are all these Prince songs out there, and I know they exist because I've heard them, but I can't get them. And finally, there was a place for me to get them.
Ripopgodazippa, Ripopgodazippa. If you flicker the pink blush, you miss a brother trooper. My girlie, honey, word you learn is that you know. Ripopgodazippa, etc., etc., etc.
Another song recorded in 1993 is Ripopgodazippa. The liner notes say, inspired by an episode on a weightlifting bench. Love it. The place that I heard this song before I was able to get it here on Crystal Ball was a little movie called Showgirls. And if you haven't watched it recently, it doesn't really hold up all that well. It's still pretty terrible. But I remember watching it because the guy in the movie's like, I wrote this song for you, and he puts it on. And the song starts going, I'm like, that's Prince. Wait a minute, that's Prince. Let me look this up. Oh, I can't, that's not a song. That's not a song that exists. Where can I buy that? Wait a minute. And then I was like, well, let me go check out the Showgirls soundtrack. Guess what? Not on the soundtrack. They also featured the song 319 in the movie, but the Gold Experience was out and I was able to get that song. It apparently was intended for the Gold Experience and was on the album in 2 different configurations before it eventually was dropped. But I love the song. It's got a reggae kind of feel and tone to it, and it's super sexy.
Rather make love and have a little fun. Throw up the love sign, everybody, and not the gun. In a chariot, red and gold.
The next track is Shock G's Silky remix of LoveSign, which was a song that was on 1-800-NEW-FUNK. It was Prince and Nona Gay. This version of it was recorded in 1994 and was supposed to be on a single version of LoveSign. Prince wanted to do the same sort of thing that he did with The Most Beautiful Girl in the World, where you'd have the song and then you'd have a bunch of different remixes of that song. Unfortunately, Warner Brothers wasn't having it. They put a stop to that release. They were like, hey man, you made too much money off the other one, so you're not allowed to do that again. So this was one of the remixes that we would have gotten if LoveSign was allowed to have been released as a single itself. And I really dig it because it includes samples from DMSR, and I think adding in that kind of old school flair into a 90s song, I think it really enhanced the song. Both versions are pretty equal though in my mind. The next song is Hide the Bone, recorded in 1993. The lyrics to Hide the Bone were written by Brenda Lee Eager and Hilliard Wilson, so not Prince. However, this song is noted as being recorded by the NPG. Not Prince, not the symbol, but the band as a whole. So that's interesting. I think it's probably one of my very favorite songs on all of Crystal Ball, and it has a lot of really good ones. But Hide the Bone is funky all the way through, and even if somebody else wrote the lyrics, it takes a real musician to be able to bring those lyrics to life in a way that makes it feel like, oh my god, how did anybody have any involvement in this besides Prince? Well, because Prince is just that good. Hide the Bone is funky, sexy, every other adjective that you can think of, it is that song. Dirty. Good.
Please don't hold my hand, 'cause I will. Damn sure understand and kill the other boys in the band who want you tomorrow. They can't tap it.
The next song is Tomorrow, recorded in 1996. And it was inspired by Corey, who is the girl from the Love for One Another movie, which I've also reviewed. Don't forget to go check out that review. An unknown member of the MPG apparently had a huge crush on her and wouldn't make a move. So in the song, the lyrics are all about, I'm just gonna look at you from afar. I love you, but I'm never gonna say anything because I'm just going to do it tomorrow. And I'm going to torture myself because I'll never make a move. A lot of people have said that that person was Tommy Barbarella. I have no way of confirming that. But it's another example of how Prince can take an idea and mold it into a new song. This song uses samples from Most Beautiful Girl in the World, but also is kind of reliant on its bass line, and I really, really love it.
Won't leave me, babe. Leave me in the dark. Can you tell me? You take my sex and my
The next track is So Dark, recorded in 1994. Obviously, Dark is a song from the Come album that same year, and So Dark is not even a remix or anything, it's a reimagining of that song. The quote in the Crystal Ball booklet says, completely redone, fatter joint than the original. And I don't think it's wrong. Since Come was largely a collection of tracks that Prince kind of pulled out of the vault, put into an order that he thought was good and could tell a good story, and then he released it, he didn't really put a ton of thought into those tracks. So Dark is kind of almost like what he would have wanted to do with all of the songs off of there, kind of like what he did with Space, where there are different versions of the same song. If he had had a better relationship with Warner Brothers, this is the level of quality that we could have gotten had he had a chance to kind of like revamp the song and like make it an even better version of the song. I do like it. Honestly, I like both of them equally, kind of like with LoveSign.
tonight. Hey, I'm a movie star. I see myself on a silver screen. Tonight, it don't matter who you are. I'm the only star on the scene.
Then we have the penultimate track, Moviestar, recorded in 1986. You're seeing a theme here. Noted in the Crystal Ball booklet as D'Angelo's favorite bootleg, his love for the track inspired its inclusion. It was a song originally written for the time, which is kind of obvious once you listen to it, but Prince decided to go ahead and record it himself. He decided he didn't want to give it to Morris Day, and in 1986 that kind of makes sense. On this version of the track, it begins with a sample of Jam of the Year, which is cool, but the song kind of has a very 80s feel to it, like in the best of ways. I think it's an amazing track. It is more of a jokey track that he would have given to the time, but I like to see Prince having fun on his albums.
Baby, how you wanna be done? Just say the word and we can start from number one and go the distance, baby. Do you tell me to stop? I lose myself inside you till you get.
Then we get to the last song, Tell Me How You Want to Be Done, recorded in 1992. Most of us know this song as the second half of the song Continental on the Love Symbol album. The Crystal Ball booklet notes it as the favorite of the erotic city dancers in LA in 1995. And that Kirky J did such a good remix of this song that that's what ended up getting him the job as a producer on Emancipation. Carmen Electra is featured heavily in this song. She's the female voice on the phone. It never really was my favorite part of Continental. I love the song The Continental itself, but it is better here than it was on the Love Symbol album, so I'll give it that. It's a weird way to end the album for me as a listener, because it ends on a track that I'm not necessarily that into. I might have switched the two and ended with Moviestar, especially since I think it ends in a really funny way, but it's not a bad choice for a way to end an album. So in conclusion, Disc 1 always spoke to me, honestly. Each of the 3 tracks in Crystal Ball have 10 songs on them, and I think that this one is my second favorite out of the 3 discs. It's no doubt because a lot of the tracks on here are from the early and mid-90s, which is, again, I'm a 90s kid, so that's where my Prince came from. So hearing all of these really cool rocking beats and different versions of songs that I personally love was special to me to be able to get that. And I think it was special to Prince to be able to finally get these tracks out in a way that he wanted to get them out. A big box set that he could sell to us and be like, yeah, you guys want music? Here's a ton of music. I love Disc 1. And I can't wait to bring you the review for Disc 2 and 3 coming soon. If you did like this review of Disc 1, don't forget to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell notification so you always know when Prince's Friend releases a new video. And I want to know what you guys think about Crystal Ball Disc 1. Let's talk about it down in the comments. Check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/princessfriend, and check out the website, princessfriend.com. We have tons of good information, and we have an overall purple calendar that you can go check out. It's got events and really cool stuff on there. Otherwise, may you live to see the dawn. Love you all.